Hi guys, happy Saturday. Okay, this is going to be a little bit of a different video. I want to focus on manifestation and, again, the dangers of all of these life coaches, all of these manifestation coaches, all of these new age coaches, all of the new agers, all of the secret people that follow Rhonda Bryan with the secret, think it and it will fall into your lap. No, it's not. So why is your manifestation not working? What's going on? What is the goal? So okay, for me, literally, I started out with the secret. It worked. It worked for the smallest of things. The smallest of things, and it worked in ways that I didn't even think it would work. I just thought it was ridiculous, writing over and over the same thing every single day. What I wanted, what I had, trying to really convince yourself and trick your brain into thinking you already have something that you don't have. It's really freaking hard. So, these people, all of these new age people, these coaches of manifestation and, these pseudo psychiatrists and these people that have studied quantum theory and, psychology for 10 years, when you're probably in your 20s, no. You guys are leading all of these other people down this very dangerous path of obsession, and then these obsessive thoughts literally take control of your life and you are possessed by them. And that is Gustav Carl Jung's interpretation. Don't let it become possessive of you. Don't let it overtake your entire life. You can't let everything, one little thing, take over your entire life. So, what is the definition of manifestation? Here we go. Definition by the manifestation in the whatever dictionary. Okay, so it's a noun, and it's event or action or object that clearly shows or embodies something, especially a theory. A theory. And we all know theories. They're not all based in reality. So, or an abstract idea. Now we have another one. The action or fact of showing an abstract idea. The manifesting of anxiety over the upcoming exams. A character or a symptom or a sign of an ailment. So a characteristic manifestation of Lyme disease. So we have that. That is manifestation. So what are we trying to manifest, guys? All these people manifesting, all this material stuff. We don't need it. We don't need it. And I'm going to tell you guys a really quick story about this, okay. So I don't see manifestation and spell work and witchcraft as separate. It's all the same. All these new age people, what you guys are doing, there's this Roxy and there's all these other people on here. You guys are literally making other people's lives miserable. I have talked to a few different people and they're miserable. So what is it that you guys are teaching them? I won't watch your videos. I won't watch your videos. I don't care. I don't care about your videos because it's blind faith. You're the blind leading the blind, literally. So when I did a love spell for a specific person, we worked hard. I worked my fanny off to help a specific person get a specific person back. What happened? Didn't happen. Didn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't always work. You don't always get what you want. You can't always get what you want. If we did, there would be no point to life. There would be no point to life and no point to learning and these learning steps. So take every single failure as not a failure, but a stepping stone. You're stronger after that. And you have got to change your mentality that, you can't have everything that you want. You will never manifest like that everything that you want. Every single little thing. Sometimes it's not meant to be. That's the truth. That's the fact of this world. We are in reality. We are on planet Earth. We are not on some other planet. We are not in another dimension. So, all of this crap that, all the new agers are spewing, it's dangerous. It really is dangerous. But anyway, the girl, this is an amazing story too. So the girl didn't get what she wanted. What happened? She loved herself more. She could go to bed at night loving herself. She was happy being by herself. She experienced an entire different world in a different viewpoint. So what did that spell do for her? It worked on her for self-love. Self-love. You gotta love you first before you can love anybody else, or for anybody else to love you. Not gonna happen. You're not gonna get your, what are you guys calling it, you New Agers? Specific person or something like that? All these weird New Age terms that's sugar-coated. Everything you guys are doing is sugar-coating it. So it's basic witchcraft. So, I mean, you deny it or whatever, you are practicing witchcraft, magic. And this is how I was taught. This is how I've learned through the old craft. I don't, think of it as manifestation. I think of it as planting a seed, letting it grow. You plant a seed, you know it's going to grow. You do know it's going to grow. You water it, you take care of it, it's going to grow. How long does it take? It can take a long time for certain plants or herbs or shrubs to grow, to manifest. So, but the girl, she learned that she needed to love herself the most. And she is quite happy now. So it did the opposite. So that's the other thing. It did the complete opposite. What happens if you do manifest that specific person or whatever, and you get that person within 24 hours, let's just say, which it does not happen. And the people that are showing off online about, oh, well, I manifested this, and all of this within 24 to 48 hours, you guys are liars. You're all lying. You had the money to buy it. You have your stimulus money. You have money set aside. You have money that you've saved. You didn't manifest that. You worked for it. That's manifestation. That's true manifestation, working for what you want. Like me, what have I done for 27 years? I've studied, done everything, tarot work, Ouija work, spirit board work, spiritism, spiritualism, all of this, traditional craft. And it's taken me 27 years. Let's go back to 20, I'll say 26 years, because I don't want to date myself. But yeah, 26 years it's taken me. And no, I don't always manifest what I want. My spells don't always work, and that's okay. It's supposed to be like that. That's life. You have got to take into consideration life, reality. Don't let the thoughts of what you want possess you, because it's just going to make you miserable. You're completely miserable, and it's dangerous. You New Agers are very dangerous to other people that are impressionable, and they're searching. Other people are searching for an outlet to manifest what they want, and we're in a really crazy time right now. What if the other person's, what if they're not on the same vibration as you? You're not going to attract that person. You're going to attract somebody on the same level as yourself, what you're vibrating at. So I don't care how many times you write down, this person loves me, this person loves me, this person loves me. So basically what you're doing is you are trying to influence their will, overpower their will with your magic, literally with your magic or your witchcraft. So that's, it's okay for me to do. But then again, these New Agers teach, don't, overpower somebody's free will. What are you doing when you guys are saying, well, this person loves me, this person loves me with all their heart, this person loves me, they're obsessed with me, there you go. There you go. So, total contradiction. But the girl that I had the pleasure of working with for about 4 months, we went through a series of so many spells, ultimately ended up with her being happy, happier than she's ever been, happier being by herself. She came to that realization on her own and realized that you can't always manifest exactly what you want. It's not the best for you. So your subconscious mind is really honestly looking out for you. So your super ego is the one that is always telling you you're not good enough. You don't deserve this. You don't deserve that. So basically everything that you're saying that you're not, you are. So if you're saying, you're not a narcissist, yes you are. If you're saying you're not a hypocrite, yes you are. If you're saying you're not wanting negativity, yes you are. We have to have a complete balance. The pendulum always swings back and forth, and it just depends on what vibration, what end of the pole, you're on, and what end of the pole that person's on. So, but in all, this woman, she is completely happy today. She has a child, I believe. I haven't spoken to her, but she was very happy, and she was content with her magic. So just, and then being grateful for everything that you already do have. That's one thing that you need to do. You need to appreciate everything that you have. Like, I'm very appreciative of what I have. I'm very, very freaking lucky to have a family that accepts me, a family that's iffy and half okay with what I do, with what I practice. So, it's just that, there's that balance. So, everything works on a quantum level. So that's how your magic works, quantum entanglement, and you'll never understand it. Even quantum physicists always tell you, if you think you understand quantum physics, no you don't. No you don't. You might understand bits and pieces, snippets, but you're not going to completely understand the whole macrocosm of, what was I just talking about? I don't know. I get really, really, really irritated with the New Agers, especially all these manifestation coaches. You're not coaches at all. You're leading the blind. So yes, everything works on the principles of nature. Everything works on, we have the 7 Hermetic principles, which we will go into. But no, you have to be grateful for what you already have. And just because, you didn't manifest what you wanted right away, doesn't mean it's not going to happen. It might not be time yet. It might not be time yet. What happens if you manifest your special person within 24 hours, and then you move in together, you get married, and you get beat up? They start to abuse you. That's that. So, there's always a reason why something is not manifesting. So, people just need to get away from these New Age coaches, because it's just very dangerous. And there's a really great guy on here that explains the dangers of New Agers. The dangers, there's all kinds of stuff on here on YouTube. The dangers of, self-help, all of this. It's very dangerous. So, alright, we have the 7 Hermetic principles. This is going to tell you guys and help you guys actually manifest things that you need and want in your life. Well, the first principle is the principle of mentalism. Second principle is the principle of correspondence. The third principle is the principle of vibration. The fourth principle of polarity, the principle of rhythm, the principle of cause and effect, and the principle of gender. So we have first the principle of mentalism. And now we have, and this is from the Kabylion, 3 Initiates, amazing book. Everybody should get it. It's inexpensive. You can get it on Amazon for like $10, $5, $4. Okay, so the all is the mind. The universe is mental. So the all is referring to God, source, spirit, whatever you want to call it. It's a disco ball with a million different names. So the principle embodies the truth that all is mind. Everything is mental. It explains that the all, which is the substantial reality underlying all the outward manifestations and appearances which we know under the terms of the material universe. So, the phenomena of life, matter, energy, and in short, all that is apparent to our material sense is spirit. Basically, everything that we see is spirit. It's molecules moving really quickly. So none of this is actually here. It is here, but it's still molecules, just vibrating at a very fast pace. So, where'd I go? So is spirit. Now, which in itself is unknowable and undefinable. You can't define spirit, and you can't know spirit completely altogether. The universal mind. But which may be considered and thought of as a universal, infinite living mind. It also explains that the phenomenal world or universe is simply a mental creation of the all, subject to the laws of created things, and that the universe as a whole, and in parts or units, has existence in the mind of the all, in which mind we live, and more, and have our being. So this principle, by establishing the mental nature of the universe, easily explains all of the varied mental and psychic phenomena that occupy such a large portion of the public attention, and which, without such explanation, are non-understandable and defy scientific treatment to an extent. So an understanding of this great Hermetic principle of mentalism enables the individual to readily grasp the laws of the mental universe and to apply the same to his well-being and advancement. So first of all, it's all about your well-being and your personal advancement. It's not about anybody else but you. So the Hermetic student is enabled to apply intelligently the great mental laws instead of using them in a haphazard manner. So With the master key in his possession, the student may unlock the many doors of the mental and psychic temple of knowledge, and enter the same freely and intelligently. This principle explains the true nature of energy, power, and matter. So, yeah, I would suggest you guys start to read up on your natural laws, the laws of nature, and Einstein, science, psychology too, and why and how all of these subordinate to the mystery of mind. One of the old Hermetic masters wrote long ages ago, "He who grasps the truth of the mental nature of the universe is well advanced on the path to mastery." So, and these words are as true today as the time they were first written. Without this master key, mastery is impossible, and the student knocks in vain at the many doors of the temple. There we go. So, yes, you have to understand that the mind, everything is mental, vibration. That is what is going on. That is what the universe is. It's all mind, mental. So the second principle is the principle of correspondence. So with this, we have as above, so below. Alright, so, or as below, so above, and that's the Kabylion. So this principle embodies the truth that there is always a correspondence between the laws and phenomena of the various planes of being in life. So the old Hermetic axiom ran in these words: as above, so below; as below, so above. And the grasping of this principle gives one the means of solving many a dark paradox and hidden secret of nature. There are planes beyond our knowing, and when we apply the principle of correspondence to them, we are able to understand much that would otherwise be unknowable to us. This principle is of universal application and manifestation on the various planes of the material, mental, and spiritual universe. It is a universal law. So, the ancient Hermeticists considered this principle as one of the most important mental instruments by which man was able to pry inside the obstacles which hid from view the unknown. So, its use even tore aside the veil of Isis, to the extent that a glimpse of the face of the goddess might be caught, just as a knowledge of the principles of geometry enables man to measure distant suns and their movements while seated in an observatory. So, a knowledge of the principle of correspondence enables man to reason intelligently from the known to the unknown. Studying the monad, he understands the archangel. So it's difficult, guys. You guys have got to understand all of this. I mean, you can't manifest, if it's going against somebody's will. I mean, you can't get around that. In my tradition, in my faith, but I mean, within other faiths, I mean, it's just conflicting beliefs. So if you're a Christian and you're working with manifestation, it's like you're praying to God, but then you're praying to the universe. So you have all these different deities and all these different ideas in your head, and it's driving you insane, which in turn drives me insane. Okay, so the principle of vibration. Nothing ever rests. Nothing, not even our mind. Everything moves, everything vibrates. So, I need a drink. Sorry. I get a little, it just frustrates me because I know a lot of witches that work. We have to work for what we want. With our spell work, we have to take inspired action and work for it. I mean, if you're going to want to attract somebody, you got to start to reach out to them. I mean, you really got to start to reach out to them. You got to tell them. I mean, you've got to be in line with that person, or it's just not going to work. Alright. Okay, so the principle of vibration. Okay, so this principle embodies the truth that everything is in motion, everything vibrates, nothing is at rest. Facts with modern science endorses, and which each new scientific discovery tends to verify. And yet this Hermetic principle was enunciated thousands of years ago by the masters of ancient Egypt. This principle explains that the differences between different manifestations of matter, energy, mind, and even spirit result largely from varying rates of vibration from the all. Whatever you want to call the all, God, Allah, goddess, spirit, source, whatever. It doesn't matter what name you give it. So, which is pure spirit, down to the grossest form of matter. All is in vibration. The higher the vibration, the higher the position in the scale. The vibration of spirit is at such an infinite rate of intensity and rapidity that it is particularly at rest. So like the earth, it looks like it's resting, but it's actually going so fast that it's vibrating and spinning. Just as a rapidly moving wheel seems to be motionless. And at the other end of the scale, there are gross forms of matter whose vibrations are so low as to seem at rest. Between these poles, there are millions upon millions of varying degrees of vibration, from corpuscle and electron, atom and molecule, to worlds and universes. Everything is in vibratory motion. This is also true on the planes of energy and force, which are but varying degrees of vibration, and also on the mental planes, whose states depend upon vibrations, and even on the spiritual planes, as understanding of this principle with the appropriate formulas enables Hermetic students to control their own mental vibrations, as well as those of others. So, the masters also apply this principle to the conquering of natural phenomena in various ways. He who understands the principle of vibration has grasped the scepter of power, says one of the old writers. There's a lot more that goes into manifesting your desires than just simply writing and affirmations and keeping a positive mindset. You've got to accept the negative. Look up Carl Jung. Listen to a lecture about, accepting the negative. We have to. It's okay. It's natural. Don't ignore it. Let it. But don't obsess over it. Just know that it's not going to last forever. And I mean, that's taken me a long time to realize that too. And I still struggle with that. It's not going to last forever. It's going to end. So the negativity will totally end. But people don't want to understand that, and they're impatient. And these New Agers, oh my God, I don't know, it makes me sick. So, now we have the principle of polarity. Everything is dual, everything has poles, everything has its pair of opposites. Like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. Extremes meet. All truths are but half-truths. All paradoxes may be reconciled. So, this principle embodies the truth that everything is dual, everything has two poles, everything has its pair of opposites, all of which were old Hermetic axioms. It explains the old paradoxes that have perplexed so many, which have been stated as follows. Thesis and antitheses are identical in nature, but different in degree. Opposites are the same, differing only in degree. The pairs of opposites may be reconciled. Extremes meet. Everything is and isn't at the same time. All truths are but half-truths. Every truth is half false. There are two sides to everything, etc., etc., etc. So, it explains that in everything there are two poles or opposite aspects, that the opposites are really only the two extremes of the same thing, so with many varying degrees between them. So we can have here, to illustrate, we have hot and cold, or heat and cold. Although opposites, they are really the same thing. The difference is consisting merely of degrees of the same thing. So look at your thermometer and see if you can discover where heat terminates and cold begins. There is no such thing as absolute heat or absolute cold. The two terms heat and cold simply indicate varying degrees of the same thing, and that's in that same thing, which manifests as heat and cold, is merely a form, variety, and a rate of vibration. So actually heat and cold are simply the two poles of that which we call heat, and the phenomena attendant thereupon are manifestations of the principle of polarity. So it's going to take a lot of people a lot of time. So you could really listen to the Kabylion in the books on here on YouTube. I definitely would. So the same principle manifests in the case of light and darkness, which are the same thing, the difference consisting of varying degrees between the two poles of the phenomena. Where does darkness leave off and light begin? What is the difference between large and small, between hard and soft, between black and white, between sharp and dull, between noise and quiet, between high and low, between positive and negative? The principle of polarity explains these paradoxes, and no other principle can supersede it. So the same principle operates on the mental plane. Let us take a radical and extreme example, that of love and hate. Two mental states apparently totally different, and yet there are degrees of hate and degrees of love, and at a middle point in which we use the terms like or dislike, which shade into each other so gradually that sometimes we are at a loss to know whether we dislike or like, or neither. So, and all are simply degrees of the same thing, as you will see if you will but think a moment, and, more than this, and considered of more importance by the Hermeticists. It is possible to change the vibrations of hate to the vibrations of love in one's own mind, and in the minds of others. Many of you who read these lines have had personal experiences of the involuntary, rapid transition from love to hate, and the reverse in your own case and that of others, and you will therefore realize the possibility of this being accomplished by the use of will, by means of the Hermetic formulas good and evil are but the poles of the same thing. Where'd I go? And the Hermeticist understands the art of transmuting evil into good by means of an application of the principle of polarity. So in short, the art of polarization becomes a phase of mental alchemy, known and practiced by the ancient and modern Hermetic masters. An understanding of the principle will enable one to change his own polarity, as well as that of others, if he will devote the time and study necessary to master the art. It doesn't happen overnight like all these people want you guys to think. It does not happen overnight. These people, I honestly believe these people lie, or they are lying to themselves, or they are just deluded. They're delusional. I mean, all these people bloating and, bragging about what they've manifested, money-wise, and, don't do that. That's one, it's rude, and two, it discourages your other viewers. So, it discourages your other viewers. So, and then they're left miserable. And that does not set well with me. So, we have the principle of rhythm. Yeah, it's work. It's a lot of work. It's not easy. It's not easy to begin with. Alright, everything flows out and in. Everything has its sides. All things rise and fall. The pendulum swing manifests in everything. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates. So, now this principle embodies the truth that in everything there is manifested a measured motion to and fro, a flow and inflow, a swing backward and forward, a pendulum-like movement, a tide-like ebb and flow, a high tide and low tide between the two poles, which exist in accordance with the principle of polarity described just a moment ago. So there's always an action and a reaction, an advance and a retreat, a rising and a sinking. This is the affairs of the universe. Suns, world, men, animals, mind, energy, and matter. This law is manifest in the creation and destruction of worlds, in the rise and fall of nations, in the life of all things, and finally in the mental state of man. And it is with this latter that the Hermeticists find the understanding of the principle most important. So, the Hermeticists have grasped this principle, finding its universal application, and have also discovered certain means to overcome its effect in themselves by the use of the appropriate formulas and methods. They apply the mental law of neutralization. They cannot annul the principle or cause it to cease its operation. Laws of nature. You can't stop the laws of nature. It's going to happen whether you like it or not. So, but they can have learned how to escape its effect upon themselves to a certain degree depending on the mastery of the principle. So they learn how to use it instead of being used by it. So, in this and similar methods consists the art of the Hermeticists. The master of Hermetics polarizes himself at the point at which he desires to rest, and then neutralizes the rhythmic swing of the pendulum, which would tend to carry him to the other pole. All individuals who have attained any degree of self-mastery do this to a certain degree, more or less unconsciously. But the master does this consciously, and by the use of his will, and attains a degree of poise and mental firmness almost impossible of belief on the part of the masses who are swung backward and forward like a pendulum. This principle and that of polarity have been closely studied by the Hermeticists, and the methods of counteracting, neutralizing, and using them form an important part of the Hermetic mental alchemy. So, there's a lot. I mean, you guys have got to study this stuff. You've really got to study this stuff. You can't just go off of these New Age people. I mean, it's dangerous. It really is. Nobody's going to listen, but it's all right. Okay, now we have the principle of cause and effect. So, hopefully this rings true to someone, anybody. Everything cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. Everything happens according to law. Chance is but a name for law not recognized. There are many planes of causation, but nothing escapes the law. So, this principle embodies the fact that there is a cause for every effect, an effect from every cause. It explains that everything happens according to law, that nothing can merely happen, nothing merely happens, that there is no such thing as chance, that while there are various planes of cause and effect, the higher dominating the lower planes, still nothing ever entirely escapes the law. The Hermeticists understand the art and methods of rising above the ordinary plane of cause and effect to a certain degree, and by mentally rising to a higher plane they become causers instead of effects. So the masses of people are carried along, obedient to environment, the wills and desires of others stronger than themselves. Heredity, suggestion, and other outward causes, moving them about like pawns on the chessboard of life. But the masters rising on the plane above dominate their moods, characters, qualities, and powers, as well as the environment surrounding them, and become movers instead of pawns. They help play the game of life instead of being played and moved about by other wills and environment. They use the principle instead of being its tool. The masters obey the causation of the higher planes, but they help to rule on their own plane. In this statement, there is condensed a wealth of Hermetic knowledge. Let him read on. Let him read who can. So, it's not going to come easy to everybody. It never is. Nothing is easy. Now we have the principle of gender. Gender is in everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. Gender manifests on all planes. So, this is the last principle. So this principle embodies the truth that there is gender manifesting in everything, the masculine and the feminine. So, principles ever at work. This is true not only on the physical plane, but on the mental and even the spiritual planes. On the physical plane, the principle manifests as sex. On the higher planes, it takes higher forms, but the principle is ever the same. No creation, physical, mental, or spiritual, is possible without this principle. An understanding of its laws will throw light on many a subject that has perplexed the minds of men. The principle of gender works ever in the direction of generation, regeneration, and creation. So, everything in every person contains the two elements or principles of this great principle. Within it, him or her. Every male thing has the female element also. Every female contains also the male principle. So, if you would understand the philosophy of mental and spiritual creation, generation, and regeneration, you must understand and study this hermetic principle. It contains the solution of many mysteries of life. But we caution you, this principle has no reference to the many base, pernicious and degrading lustful theories, teachings, and practices, which are taught under fanciful titles, and which are prostitution of the great natural and principle of gender. Such base revivals of the ancient infamous forms of phallicism tend to ruin mind, body, and soul, and the Hermetic philosophy has ever sounded the warning note against these degraded teachings, which tend toward lust, licentious, and perversion of nature's principles. If you seek such teachings, you must go elsewhere for them. Hermeticism contains nothing for you along these lines. To the pure, all things are pure. To the base, all things are base. So you've got to take into consideration all of the laws of nature when you're manifesting. I mean, and it is just crazy. So this book tells you everything you do. Everything you need to know is right here. Simple little book. So it really does bother me. Just, you can't manifest, a person with their free will. You can, but you're not going to get, around their free will. You're not. If their will is that strong, you're not going to get around it. So, I mean, you just have to wait. You have to wait, you have to be patient, you have to change your way of thinking. It takes a long time. It's taken me a long time, and I'm still not there yet. So, becoming desperate, becoming, obsessed, the thoughts, if that's all you think about, you are literally becoming possessed by these thoughts, obsessed and possessed. So these thoughts will possess you, and that's all you're going to think about, that's all you're going to want, and it's going to ruin everything else in your life. So within every little, big spiritual work, we need to balance that out. That's that pole, the balance of the polarities. So spiritual work, little mundane work, the spiritual work, here we go. Here's the mundane, here's the spiritual. You've done way too much spiritual work, mental work, manifestation work, trying manifestation work. We've got to balance that out with real life crap. That's all there is to it. So, I don't know what else to say, but steer clear of the New Agers and these life coaches and these manifestation coaches, because, I mean, literally what I've seen, it's not good. It's not good at all. It's dangerous for people. A very dangerous thing. So, and it's frustrating, because I can't help, somebody else with, what a New Ager is teaching, because I don't understand these New Age people. I don't get it. I didn't grow up in that era. I grew up in my own era, obviously. So I grew up, you have to work for what you want. So with me, with my, my candles that I do and everything for myself, not for everybody else, but for myself, it just comes naturally. It comes naturally from what I have learned from being a witch and being, a traditional witch, and, from studying for 27 years. 27 years. So, and I'm still not an expert on anything. I'm not an expert on the tarot. I'm not an expert on the Ouija. I know the Ouija. I know how to use it properly. I know how to get good communications. I know how to use the tarot. It's still, I still get perplexed. I still have questions, and I still wonder sometimes, why isn't this manifesting what I want? I've done everything. Something's missing. So it takes work, and a lot of it, a lot of hard work, dedication. So, I mean, start small, and start being appreciative and grateful for what you already have, and then more of that is going to fall into your life. It's not going to fall into your lap. You're going to have to work for it. So, I mean, I hate to burst people's bubble, but you have to work for it. Just like the hair process, literally bleaching your hair process, you have to work. I mean, it takes a long time to actually get down to where you're not going to lose your hair after bleaching it. Doing your new growth, my new growth, you know, it takes years to, you know, some people just, you know, instantly grasp onto the concept of manifestation, others don't. So for the people that don't, you need to take a break, step back, distract yourself. I mean, you need to completely get rid of it for right now and just completely go on with something else, like the Kabylion. Read, study, and stay away from these new age people, because it's ridiculous. And don't boast and brag about what you've manifested. It's stupid, it's petty, and it makes others just feel like crap. So you new agers, I mean, you manifestation coaches, you're doing nothing. You might think you're doing good helping people, but you know, in actuality, you're causing more harm than you are good for these people. So that's my opinion. That's what I've been taught. That's what I know. So I don't know. I don't know what else to say, but I hope you guys understand this. I know a lot of you already do, but I hope this helps some other people to kind of, you know, understand the manifestation process. And then we have, you know, the Hermetic principles. Study science. You have got to study some science. You've got to study, you know, Earth, biology, basic Earth science. That'll get you somewhere. Basic Earth science. Get you a book on quantum physics. You don't have to go into that. You don't have to go into that, because that is so hard. It really is hard. So just keep studying, keep reading and studying, and yeah, just, you know, I don't know what else, you know, to really say, but I hope it helps some people. So I love you guys very much. I hope you guys have a great weekend. So all my love, all the way from Venus, all the way back down. I've talked way too much. I'm tired now. I love you guys. So yeah, please let me know what you guys do for manifestation. How do you guys manifest? Did you get your manifestation like that? Probably not. Maybe a cup of coffee. Start with that. Start with simple, tiny things. See where you go with that. So, alright guys, I love you all very much, and I will see you all tomorrow. So yeah, just be careful guys, and I love you all.